hate to say it. I hope I don't sound ridiculous.
But Big Mouth made me cry. Big Mouth made me cry. I know, as shocked as you are. I was about like 8 episodes deep in this Big Mouth spin-off Human Resources, and I realized I had actual like real life tears streaming down my face. This stupid show with the whole episode dedicated to 2 ding-dongs fighting to the little death made me cry. It wormed its way into my stone cold heart and moved me. Human Resources has been out for a while now, and I'll be honest, it wasn't on my priority list of things to watch, let alone review, because I don't know. When it comes to entertainment, specifically like movies and music, I can be a bit of like a art host snob. Like, if you ask someone what their favorite Tom Holland movie is, they'll probably tell you like Spider-Man, No Way Home or something like that. But my niche ass will probably plug The Devil all the time. I will not rest until everyone has heard Robert Pattinson's southern accent.
In the garden, Noah, naked, drunk, bringing shame upon his family.
I will not rest. It's totally justified to be selective in particular when it comes to the entertainment you choose to watch. Like, you're literally dedicating hours of your time to watch a story unfold, relationships between characters blossom, and a whole world being built. But at the same time, I can understand not wanting to watch like a big hit piece every time you sit down and watch a movie. It's nice to have a comfort show that you can just go back to and not have to, like, you can just turn your brain off and not have to think about it. It being life for like 11 to 30 minutes. My personal favorite is Regular Show. I think of them as like fast food cheeseburger shows. Like, they're quick and easy, maybe not the most nutrient dense and, you know, gear moving, but you can't help but to get one every now and then. Just to break up the monotony of eating like chicken, broccoli, and rice every fucking day because you're on a diet, because you want to have big muscles. So imagine my surprise when I clicked on this The Office Meets Big Mouth show, expecting a greasy cheeseburger and getting a healthy, fresh serving of each food group. I was hooked by the 3rd episode, but it wasn't until episode 9 that I really realized that the show was legitimately good.
I can deny it no longer!
This is coming from someone who wasn't really too fond of Big Mouth by the 2nd season. The jokes got too raunchy for me, and some jokes felt like they were beating a dead horse, and I found myself reaching for the remote at the halfway point during the season. But Human Resources brings something so unique and refreshing to the table that it almost makes me wish it came out first. Most aspects of the show are a knock out of the park. Casting amazing, animation 110, storyline unmatched. I could easily analyze the whole show, but for this video I'm only going to focus on episode 9 because I think it's a really good representation of the series as a whole. Episode 9, appropriately named It's Almost Over, peaks and closes one of the best arcs in the show. And to be such a vulgar, in-your-face, no F's to gives kind of show, it handles death and grief like someone with a silk glove on placing a feather on a rose petal. This episode opens with the solidification of the love triangle between Emmy, Rochelle, and Dante. And I'm not going to get too deep into their storyline, but it is also very ripe for the picking and analyzing if you want that. We cut to dinner at the El Corey household, a family that is introduced earlier in the series and whose dynamics are established pretty well. But the 2 family members we focus on for this episode are Yara and her son Amir. It occurred to me that I forgot to explain the world, so here we go. You have your normal human, and your normal human has emotions, starting off with your love bugs, then you have your logic rocks, then you have your anxiety mosquitoes, then you have your ambition gremlins, and finally you have your hormone monster. When your human gets old and dies, guess what happens to your emotions? They all get fired. The end. Thank you for attending my TED Talk. We learn that several of Yara's employees have been let go because she's dying. And this sends her love bug Walter into an immediate state of denial and anger. Amir's logic rock Pete and Walter, Yara's love bug, are constantly at odds during this episode. Amir's trying his best to make life for his mother the best and most comfortable for everyone involved in the most logical way, While from Yara and Walter's point of view, he's ignoring the things that matter the most to her and taking away what little things she has to enjoy in life at this point. We are then introduced to one of the most unique characters in the show, and in a show where every character is unique, it says a lot. Keith from Grief. And in my opinion, this is where the show takes a subtle shift that you don't notice immediately. Keith's main purpose is to assist their human in accepting the terrible situations in life, and in this case, it's death. He starts off very warm and understanding, but very, very straightforward. Like, he tells them he'll F them up, which Grief does do that. It does that. But I'll get more into that part later. Pete and Walter reject him immediately. Walter, again, full on denies Yara's state of health. Pete straight up tells him he can't have time to grieve because he has to focus on Yara's health now and trying to maintain her state. This is where we see the employees go through their own mini journeys of grief, or the beginnings of it. Shit Rat, aka Yara's granddaughter, aka Natalie, abducts or convinces her grandma to go to the convenience store so she can get a jewel, some cigarettes, but most importantly, candy. As Yara eats her beloved Toblerone, we get sent back into the memories of her youth. And those who have seen the show are already familiar with it. Her at a cafe waiting for Safi, and then meeting him on the rose-colored beach so they can fall deeper in love. But there's a strong difference this time. Yara's life story continues. And what we, and Walter, don't realize is that this is Yara's life flashing before her eyes. Her final curtain call. A farewell performance. We see her marriage to her husband, the birth of her kids and her grandkids, and then the memories start to disintegrate. And that part really stuck out to me, and I did a little bit of research. It wasn't very much, inch deep, mile wide, and I stumbled upon a couple of theories that doctors have about their life flashing before your eyes, before you die. One of my favorite theories that I found was from Judy Katz and Shahar Arzi. I'm gonna read this verbatim, so no one come for me. When we're close to death, our memories suddenly unload themselves, like the contents of a skip being dumped. This could be due to the breaking down of normal regulatory processes of the brain in highly stressful situations, causing a cascade of mental impressions. The life review is usually reported as a serene and ordered experience, completely unlike the chaotic cascaded experiences associated with cortical disinhibition. And none of these theories explain how it's possible for such a vast amount of memories and information, like the events of a person's life, manifest themselves in a period of a few seconds, and often far less. And isn't that crazy? Isn't that wild? Have fun chewing on that during the rest of this video. Okay, enough of that. Back to the episode. So, once Amir figures out that Yara is missing, he promptly freaks the fuck out and goes out to find her, and he's again chased by Keith from Grief. Only this time he's getting bigger, like by the second almost. Yara's final memories are breaking down by this point, and Walter isn't handling it well at all. And Natalie eventually comes to her senses and realizes that her grandmother isn't doing too well, so she gives her father a call. Once they finally get home and settled, Amir takes a second and finally realizes the gravity of his situation. And that's when Keith finally steps in. He gets Amir to admit to himself that his mother is dying. And it sucks. And there's nothing he can do about it. At the same time, Walter comes to terms with his own grief and realizes, and I quote, "Life is cruel and unfair, but it's also so fucking precious." It's one of my favorite quotes from the show. Pete, who is supposed to be the most logical of all the employees, is even moved because there's no way to make sense of the situation. No way to amend the pain that they're in. The episode closes with a montage of Amir and his family praying and crying and grieving together. In Yara's final moments, Natalie and Walter are at her bedside, and in a beautiful twist of fate, Walter gets transferred to Natalie as her love bug. They console each other as Yara takes her final breaths. And Moon River by Frank Ocean plays in the background softly. Yara's soul leaves her body, and Walter promises to always look over Shitwreck. And she crosses over into the light. And then the screen fades to white. One last stake in the heart for this episode in particular is that the first thing we see is in memory of Willie Garrison. And if you don't know who Willie Garrison is, he was a voice actor on Big Mouth, and I'm not sure if he voiced any characters on Human Resources. I have to look that up. But it's just, it makes the episode even sadder. Now that we have finally made it through that heart-wrenching episode, I can finally get to my thoughts more fully. Human Resources did an amazing job of showing different approaches to grief, all while maintaining its goofy, funny nature and still being entertaining. And I think that's a really difficult thing to do. And it's one of the main points that stuck out to me over the course of this show. There are so many difficult topics that they're still able to handle and make as entertaining as they need it to be. I was able to laugh while having tears stream down my face, like genuinely laugh. What can represent life, the human experience, more than a moment like that? I'll be completely transparent and say that the concept of death has scared me since I was a kid. I thought it wasn't fair and you had no way of controlling it. That's some bull. And of course, as I've gotten older, I've accepted it as a part of life. It's an important part of life. It's the reason we have to live each day to the fullest and be the best version of ourselves that we can be, even if the best version of ourselves that day is sitting on the couch and eating chips and crying. Anyway, I'm blessed enough to have a grandmother who I love very much that is still kicking. She even mailed me some dolls from my childhood the other day, but only after she sold them brand new outfits. They're back there if you were curious. They're between Izuku and Toshinori All Might, hanging out. She was and is still a big part of my life. I have her old record player sitting right over there and all the records she used to play when I was a kid. And she still sends me cards in the mail instead of just texting or calling me. I have a whole wall of them. I'm probably going to insert a picture of it so you can see. To keep it short-winded, this stupid show made me face the fact that I will have to run away from Keith from grief one day. I'll have to watch as my granny's love bug fights against her own humanity. I will struggle as my logic rock tries to make sense of the situation at hand. But what this stupid, brilliant show also did was help me accept that reality when it comes. As terrifying as it might be. And for anyone out there who's struggling or has struggled with the same thing, I hope it can help you too. I was just retwisting my hair and I was like, I'll watch this stupid show. Man, crying, tears down my face. If you watched this far, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. I know the audio is going to be a little touch and go near the middle because my MacBook was taken off. Girl, relax. And you might be asking what's the point of this video, and the point honestly was I just wanted the show to get more attention, more praise, and I wanted to talk about the themes. So feel free to let me know your questions, comments, and concerns down below. If I'm right, let me know how I was right. If I'm wrong, I am welcome to debate. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace out. I'm getting emotional just talking about it. Girl, calm down. Oh, Jesus Christ. Maybe I got too many things open. It's messing my audio. I think it'll be fine though. Can y'all hear it? You could probably. Once Amir figures out that Yara is missing, he promptly freaks the fuck out and goes out to find her. And he's again chased by Keith from Geek.